This is Christoph Yalik.
This is Just Janet.
And this is K. Colley.
And this is
the Just Nuggets Podcast.
With another Just Nuggets podcast. The Nuggets are on a 2-game winning streak. Woo-hoo! How's everyone doing?
We up.
We good.
We good, finally.
Yeah, finally. I love it.
And it's funny because we were on a 3-game losing streak.
Yeah, we were.
So it's nice to get back on the winning ways.
Yeah.
The thing that was really annoying about, just to say, it's December 14th. It's 11 days before Christmas. Excited.
Excited.
But I wanted to say the thing that really made me kind of annoyed, and we kind of jump right into it.
Yeah.
Is when the Nuggets played the Bulls 2 days ago. The issue was that the Nikola Jokic thing. The whole him getting kicked out and ejected was really just obnoxious. I know. I buried the lead, but that was the whole story of that game because it was really obnoxious. The Nuggets win, but Jokic gets kicked out right before the end of the first half.
Yeah. No yoke, no maul, but we won the game. And then we had KCP went out. He hit his head.
About 13 minutes in, yeah.
Yeah,
he
was back.
He
came back and then he couldn't stay in the second
game.
half. Yeah.
Mind you, Jokic gets kicked out on Serbian National Heritage Day.
In Chicago.
Which I didn't know this, but it's one of the biggest Serbian populations.
Yeah, in the country.
That's now 2 times.
Yes.
Jokic has been kicked out on the Serbian Heritage game.
Yep, because he got kicked out
Which
a week
really
a week before that in Detroit.
It's annoying to the fans because I remember when we went to go see Wemby. Imagine if Wemby gets kicked out of that game, we don't even get to see him.
Right.
But most of the reason, don't get me wrong, I love my Nuggets. Obviously, I would love to watch the Nuggets any day. But sometimes you do want to see other players.
Yeah, but dual purpose, sure, of course.
Or if Serbia is not like now it's becoming one. But it's not like it's like churns out NBA talent all the time.
Except for now, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I said. Now it has. But I would still say that Nikola Jokic is the best one that turned out. So like think about the 6-year-old kid who's never seen Jokic play.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. And he gets to finally come. His parents save up their money to get him to go in there. They're at the United Center, and right before halftime, the ref can't take some colorful language and gets my man Nikola Jokic thrown out on a one-tech toss.
It was a one-tech ejection.
One-tech toss, one-tech ejection, which is just like, it shows how insecure that ref is.
Pretty much.
Also shows how bad he is at his job.
That too.
B, and it's like, come on, like, I mean, to be fair, I know this is a Nuggets podcast, so if you listen to this, you're 9 times out of 10 a Nuggets fan.
Yeah.
1 out of 10 a hater. But the night before, I'll be non-biased. The night before, when the Nuggets were in Atlanta, similar situation happened towards the end of the third with Trae Young.
Yes.
Trae Young got a little mouthy, and he got, I think it was his one-tech ejection.
It was a 2-tech.
Yeah, okay.
He had gotten a tech earlier.
But basically, he got thrown out for using colorful language and saying what he was saying. Even Quinn Snyder got involved and all sorts of stuff. But moral of the story, what I'm getting at, is these refs have started to overstep their
They have. Jason
welcome.
Tatum got kicked out. Jaylen Brown got kicked out. I mean, we can go
which
down.
is obnoxious because we don't come to see the refs.
We don't. Like, no one... Like, I one time I did this job. It was like this big project. And one of the things that my boss said to us, she said, our job is to not be the story.
Sure.
You know,
when you're in media or communications.
Yeah, it was a big event, and if there was no story from what we did, that means we had a successful event.
Yes.
And we did because there's no story about it. The refs should look at it like that when they go into a game. If we're not the story, we had a good game. But when you start to interject yourself and you're throwing out superstars from Nikola Jokic to Jason Tatum to Trae Young, you are now injecting yourself into the outcome of the game. Yes, the Nuggets are a lot better than the Chicago Bulls, and to their point, speaking for them, they didn't have my guy from the Lakers, Alex Caruso, and they also didn't have Levine.
Yep.
So they were missing 2 starters. But the Nuggets, as we just said, were down 3 starters because the refs and injury.
Yeah.
So
KCP was out, Jamal was out. The other thing that is really annoying is the fact that in the NBA, even more even than football, we just know these refs' names. I think that's your point
true.
about the refs not being a part of the game.
If we know Scott Foster,
we know when
or
Scott Foster
Tony
takes
Brothers
over
or somebody's
as
coming,
a ref, the game is
over.
going to be obnoxious. We know if Tony Brothers is reffing, the game is going to be obnoxious. And now there's that new dude who's probably. I forget his name.
I'm glad
he's starting to get his name out there.
Yeah,
of all these
and then
objections.
even Scott Foster, it was pro Nuggets last year, but I remember I guess it was earlier this year, but last season, against the Raptors. Remember, it was like a close game down the stretch, and I think the Nuggets were up by like 1 or something, and Scott Foster just interjected himself, teed up the Raptors, and they go shoot 2 free throws, and then the Nuggets win. And I, even as a Nuggets fan, I felt like how the Bulls fans, because when Jokic got ejected, there was a noticeable Bulls.
Oh, it was.
And we were watching it on League Pass. Excuse me, noticeable boos from the Bulls fans.
Yeah, and announcers.
And then the Bulls announcers were saying how trash of a call that was. They're like, "Come on, like
they wanted to see him play."
No one's saying he shouldn't have got a technical.
Oh yeah,
I think we all agree. We're all in agreement that he should have got 1 tech, but 1 tech ejection. Or 2 techs, however you want to look at it, but it was 1 tech ejection. The ejection piece of that was just overstepping.
And I think I saw it on X, but I did see it about the rules. The rules said if you say some kind of obnoxious or blasphemous or whatever, it's kind of a slur, not even a slur. They just said that you get a tech. Mm-hmm. It said, it said that was the rule, and that's what you should have been the response. But it was further than that. So now, does he get to answer? Do they have some situation where the umps or the refs or what you want to
not
call
really.
them?
They're pretty unchecked. But to that point, I really did love what Coach Malone said in his presser about it. He said that the phrase that he said, that Nikola said to the ref, he said that was a term of endearment in my household growing up.
Yeah, well.
And my point, and this is just me being a conspiracy Jones, I think the reason Jokic got kicked out is because he was leading the league in points, rebounds, and assists. And they're like, that's a little crazy for a player to be this long, deep in the season to have that. So we need to curve. We need to curve one of his games. I'm just joking.
It's funny because I forget who they were playing, but it was recently in during that 3-game slide. Jokic had an awful game. I forget who. I'll look it up, but I think it was against the Kings. I want to say.
He missed a lot.
And he missed a ton of shots.
I think it was the Kings.
He missed a ton of shots, and the dude still finished with a triple double.
Yeah, he did.
It was just funny to me. Like he had what was it? It wasn't against the Kings because he only missed 10 against the Kings. Then was it against the Clippers?
Yeah, whichever one when you.
Yeah, it was the Clippers. He shot 9 of 32.
Yeah.
Most he's ever missed in a game.
Yeah.
Right? Still ended the game with 22 points, 10 assists, and 15 rebounds. So it's funny to me that even when the dude has a god-awful game, he's +1 from the field, can't hit the broadside of a barn, still lucks into a triple-double. It's because he's still the best player on the world, and even when he has a bad game, it's a career night for someone else.
Yep.
No, that's true.
That's true.
And I guess the last point before we just kind of get into the game, because the Nuggets did still win. I hate that these people paid all that money. And if you know Serbians, they love basketball.
Yeah.
They love some basketball. So for them to miss that again, it's just like the Detroit. It's just really
it's obnoxious if we're spending this much time on our podcast at the top of it to talk about it. It has to stop. It just has. I hope someone who's listening out there could the NBA do something about it. It's because we are not coming there to see these refs. We're coming there for them to manage or do their job in the game, and don't be all soft and emotional about stuff. Just give the people a tech. Move on.
Yeah, it seems like Jokic gets it on both ends too. He doesn't get the respect that you'd expect at this point in his career if you're getting tossed that quickly. But 2, he's also not getting the free throws.
No, he's not. That's what he was mad about.
He was getting it because if you look at what Embiid gets from a 3-point free throw line, or Giannis, I do get the Giannis because Giannis is constantly driving to the lane, so he's gonna get fouled a lot. Where Jokic just tends to be more back to the back. But even if you go look at, back to the basket. But But even if you go look at Jokic's arms after a lot of games, you
scratch.
can see that he probably has enough scratches on his arm for 10 free throws a game, and he's not getting those.
Yeah.
So I just think it's obnoxious. But as we turn to the game, the Nuggets won this one. The Nuggets won the game against the Bulls 114-106.
Yes.
And I think what you really saw was Michael Porter, even though Michael Porter started missing threes a little bit midway through, he had a really good run of hitting threes in that third quarter. Yes. Uh-huh. And Reggie Jackson is still just being who we need him to be as a six-man / five guy at this point for our team.
That dude.
Yeah, I mean, we were laughing about it. There's a famous meme or a popular meme, and it's like, it always changes. It's like, do something or pass the ball.
Yeah.
And then it's always a photo of Michael Porter Jr. shooting. In that third quarter, he came out and he set the tone.
Yes, he did.
And they went up by a bit, like maybe 10, maybe 12, somewhere in there. They went up by double digits. And then it was live by the 3, die by the 3, and live by MPJ, die by MPJ. Because then later on in that quarter, when Chicago cut it to 4, got it to 6, it was because this dude MPJ was chucking and ducking. He wasn't looking to pass. He just was coming down the court and firing it off. I remember I said to you, Jays, they need to put Reggie back in there. They took out MPJ, they put Reggie back in, and all of a sudden the ball's moving.
Yeah.
DeAndre Jordan played his butt off that game.
Yes.
And because of Jokic, then it was gone. And what a great game from Strawthard, who also had a good game in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He had 16 against the Bulls in 23 minutes. P. Watt had an excellent game.
Yes.
I think that's where I was about to go, Dot, is that after we had a conversation on the pod a couple episodes ago about what P. Watt is, I've changed my frame of thinking of him. I don't expect him to be an average 12 to 15 points. I don't. I expect him to average 4 to 8 and play his butt off defensively. And the days we do get 10 to 12, that's going to be a runaway game, or those could be substantial points when we really need them in the clutch. But he is a defensive prowess guy. And so is CB, but CB has a little bit more offensive upside. And we ask a little bit more of him this year from the offensive side. But I don't think that's necessarily his game.
Yeah, because his jumper's just not crazy. CB's jumper's not crazy.
It's not consistent.
He's a decent slasher, and honestly, that's really his game. He's really more of a defensive guy, too, that's forced to learn how to play.
Yeah, he's just a little bit ahead on that curve than P. Watt is. But P. Watt is playing phenomenal right now from a defensive standpoint.
So my favorite subject, can we look at the bench then? Okay, so you've named 4 people. You said
we should call this podcast just Nuggets bench this season.
I just think it's where the issue is. We talked about Reggie. He's doing well. He's offensive. He has offensive prowess. He can play defense, but we get offense from him. Okay. Number 2, you said CB and P. Watt. Those are defensive players. They have some opportunities. Because CB has exploded and gotten 20 before, so he is capable.
He had 13 against the Bulls.
Yeah, and we want him to continue on that path, and then some of this bench issue I have will start to go away. And so then that's 3 people. Then Strawther has come on. I think he has a lot of potential. So if he could continue to go, I'm gonna put him on the offensive side because his defense is there, but not like P. Watts and CB's whatever. So who's that 5th person? It used to be the rotational person when Jamal is there, right? He would stay with him a little bit. Reggie and him flip, however they're gonna flip. Or I've seen them put out there MPJ, and I've seen them put out in that 5 spot, AG. Yeah. Okay, so it could happen. It's better than it was in October and early November. It was we just couldn't find our way. But it is getting better. So I'm not as down on it anymore because now I can kind of see who has skill sets certain ways. So if you say P. Watt will not be the offensive factor we want him to be, but if CB can continue to grow and Swather can continue to grow, we might have something. Now, who I haven't said that's not in there? Najee.
I mean, he hasn't been playing. If Najee could have something on his, he always wears the headband.
Yeah.
Instead of having the NBA logo, it should just say "Trade me."
Oh my!
Because that's what he is at this point in my eyes.
A piece.
Yeah, but here's my thing: is don't Nuggets Nation, Just Nuggets podcast fan base listening, don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I love Zeke Naji.
Yes.
He's a champion.
Yes,
He will forever be goated in the 2022-2023 championship team.
Sure.
But what that has made me do is I don't have the longing to have you on my team anymore because it used to be like I realized before last year I wanted you on the team because I liked you and I want you to be on the. You've already on the team when they won a championship. Yeah. So in my head, you're expendable because I want another championship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think he's crazy talented, and I think he's a good big in this league. Is he a starter? Probably not. But is he a quality off the bench?
He needs to go somewhere where he can play. Yeah, he can. Yeah, well, I mean, San Antonio. He can go somewhere and play. That's all we're saying.
Yeah. So I think if he's a piece that we could ship off for whatever.
He's like you said, a valuable piece that we could put in a trade to go.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do y'all think? You think the bench is getting better? Am I wrong?
I would argue that you looked at it from a regular season perspective, and I think that if we're gonna take this bench to the playoffs, it's a totally different.
That's the only place we're going.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
all right.
Now you're really asking who are the 8 to 9 people that can hold down the bench. Right now, I think we could still use somebody that we could trade for. Mm-hmm. Just because, again, Strother is very much a rookie. He has great games, bad games. Yeah. He's finding a little bit of a rhythm now, but who's to say in a month or two he's not going back through a little struggle? That's because of
how rookies do.
Peyton Watson, again, is kind of in that rookie situation where he played a little bit last year, but this is the first time he's getting real minutes.
Sure.
So he's getting rookie ebb and flows. Christian Brown, obviously, he's going to be consistent.
Oh,
he's going to be one of those.
He's in the rotation. Yeah, he is.
Reggie Jackson, and Jamal, and them are officially.
Yeah, so that's 7. It's the 5 and then those 2.
But I really can't say for certain I rely on anybody else consistently. I don't think I can rely on Peyton Watson consistently for playoff minutes where it matters most. Defensively, I think so.
Yeah.
But we can't have minutes. We can't have 6-minute windows where we're not scoring.
No, we can't.
Not in the playoffs.
Not even really in the regular season.
You've seen that we still lost 9 games.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's a different sport, but the way you look at it is like this. You know, like for example, the Chiefs keep having people that drop the football.
Now we're talking football?
No, I'm just saying for a quick second. The receivers keep dropping the football. If you don't address it, you're going to be in the playoffs mad like, oh, wow, our bench is still doing the same thing that they're doing in the regular season, even though we know for a fact that we see it now. And we can say they're developing, but it's going to take them a little bit longer.
And I feel obligated to tell our Denver listener audience or Colorado that the reason why K-Dot is saying that because unfortunately he has been a long-standing Chiefs fan. So he's going to talk about the Chiefs and I get it.
You could have left that out. We want people to like that.
I mean... What can I say? They won a lot of championships, and I've been a fan.
That's
not even here nor there. Okay. What happens when you address issues.
I just wanted to
let me interject my point about the bench because I agree with you both, kind of simultaneously.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Jays, in the fact that they are playing better.
They are.
My pushback to that is I don't want to get confident or fall in love with what I'm seeing.
Sure.
Because I know it could fall apart at any moment. And I already know I've known this since July, that they need another pivotal piece.
Sure.
And this is why we call it the Clyde Drexler year. We don't have that yet.
Nope.
In the next couple months, we'll see how it unfolds. But if they're able to sustain for the rest of this month, early next month, and about middle of January, you see it's still the same issue that you saw in November. And towards the end, you're like, we got to pull. No, here's why I say that is because they got to pull the trigger. If they just start playing well from here until March, that's net negative, in my opinion. That's net negative for the Nuggets because then management's going to be like, oh, they're pretty good. We don't have to make a move. And then they fall apart and can't be trusted in March, April, May, June. So that goes to Kyle's point where I also agree with Kyle is that is because they are looking better, but when it comes playoff time and those rotations get smaller, who do we truly trust? I'm starting to say Reggie, yes.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, who's coming along with him? Because it was kind of like last season.
Well, CB already is because he played last year, so he gets to play this year.
Yeah, and I think Julian
Hopefully.
If you don't trade him because he's a pivotal piece to get you something big, he has the potential to have flurries in the playoffs. I don't think the moment he's starting to show me, and I have a little bit of faith in him to the point that I don't think that he will be scared of the moment.
No, neither do
I think he'll live up to the moment, and I think he has the ability to take over a game, and especially if they're at the Pepsi Center, but if they're at the Ball Arena, and those fans are electric, and they're game 3,
you get
game 2, game XYZ, game 6 versus XYZ team, insert team, the Kings, whomever, and he goes crazy and has one of those 5 for 7 3-point game and 3 of them in a row and changes the tide. I think he has that ability.
Yeah, he does.
I think so too.
The reason I think he has it because CB had it last year.
He did. It's the same ascension.
It's the same. He's kind of more on the CB ascension where he says, "Hey, you could potentially play some playoff minutes for us, and they could be potentially." I
think he is that guy.
But I think he should be at the. To me, I think he should be at the 9 spot. And we should bring in a wily vet.
Oh yeah.
Who maybe hasn't won an NBA championship or is dying.
Wouldn't
it
be something we could do both?
Like we had Jeff Green last year.
Funny enough, I was gonna say that last night I was watching a bunch of League Pass games, and one of the games I watched was the Houston Memphis game. And their announcers were just raving about Jeff Green. And
Which announcers?
Houston's.
Okay.
Houston's announcers were just raving about what Jeff Green means to that team and what he brings to the team and his leadership and how he's a calming presence, all this stuff. And the example he said is like, you can see how much they love him in Denver. And he said how he's treated in Denver speaks volumes about the man and yada, yada, yada. But you saw he got his ring. Last Friday, and then subsequently beat the Nuggets. The Rockets beat the Nuggets 3 out of 4 games. I mean, do with that information what you will.
Hurt team.
I know. All these teams. I don't know. I'm an arrogant Nuggets fan at this point in my life because I'm like, yeah, it's cool. It's not even Christmas yet.
No.
If you beat me in January, I'd be like, tight. It's January. You beat me in February, I say, tight. It's February. But when it comes down and the game's narrow and we're talking about the bench rotation, what is your bench doing against? Or when after game 1 and 2, when we go to the road or when you come home, what are the adjustments you're making?
Yeah.
When the game gets finite, Houston, Orlando, Indiana, all these teams that have not proven it, Oklahoma City, you guys hell, even Minnesota. What are you going to do in the playoffs? Because I know what Boston's going to do. I know what Denver's going to do. I know you're going to roll your eyes. I know what the Lakers are going to do.
Milwaukee.
I know Milwaukee. Hell, I know what Philadelphia's going to do.
Losing game 7.
Losing game.
Yeah, they're going to disappear when it really matters. But at least they'll be there. They'll be there.
What about this? So remember the guy that smoked us for 40 points in Atlanta? He comes off the bench too.
Yeah,
Bogdan
Bogdanovic. I would love if we could.
And he's Serbian.
How can you get him though? I mean, would they? I mean, okay, it is Atlanta, so it's
love,
on the other.
Like
it's
said,
in the other. It's in the other side. It's
said.
the east and the west area over there. I get that. That would be helpful because you don't want to trade with.
This is why it sucks what we just said. But yes, Julius Strother's a dog. Yes, all those guys are dogs. But if we can get Bogdanovic,
I don't know if I like. I like where you're going. I like where you're going. I think Strothard and Najee are good trade-away chips for sure, as long as the draft picks as well.
Good too.
However, I don't know if I want to risk Bogdanovic for Julian Strothard.
Why?
But if you get
they basically do.
I don't know. I don't.
And Bogdan's more developed.
I would rather if you could get him plus and still keep Julian.
Sure.
I'm still there for that. That's what I would love. But if I'm only parting ways with Julian Strother for like, I don't want to say a name because I can't really think of one. The one that's coming to mind, so I'm just gonna say it. Klay Thompson. I'll put that into the podcast atmosphere. If we could get Klay Thompson or someone like that, then I'm like,
why would you not want Bogdan? I think Bogdan is just.
I didn't say I didn't say I don't want Bogdan. I just don't want to part ways with Julian for Bogdan.
Really?
But I would part ways with Najee and Holiday.
Hasn't had most favorable season yet, but I get it. He's potential.
He's still a Hall of Famer. I feel like Hall of Fame. He's got 4 championships. I think.
There's a dog.
Well, Ty Bow.
Oh, I think he's an absolute dog.
31 years old, scored 40 points, 20 points, 20 points, and he's averaging 17 points a game this season.
Yeah. Okay.
40% from the 3-point line. So I'm saying his 3-point is right there with Julian. I personally.
I would love if I would flip Holiday, P. Watt, and Najee for that.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not honestly. I don't want to get rid of Julian. I'm just saying. If we want to keep winning championships, obviously putting him on our bench with Reggie would just be crazy.
Yeah, and I think the Nuggets front office has proven that they want to continue to build for the future and win now.
Yeah.
And that's a delicate balance.
That's a almost impossible balance
because
sometimes.
If you look at the history of the NBA, I think maybe only the Lakers of the 80s were able to do that dance well enough.
Yeah.
Because the Bulls definitely did it. The first 3, I would say, then Jordan left, and then they came back.
Warriors didn't even try to do it.
They stacked it.
The Warriors,
the early Warriors, the first 2 times they got there. So they won the initial one, and then the second one. And then they lost the second one, so they went all in on the future. So that's when they got KD, and they went all in, and they really scrapped that. And then they lucked
up and had Jordan Poole one year to have a.
So then that next year they had young talent, but with the core that was still of age, and then still enough prime to get it done.
Yeah.
So
here's my thing.
It's a delicate dance.
I agree on both sides. I say I don't want to waste Joker years, so we're all in. We need to be or Jamal years. We need to be all in.
I think we
need to be more.
I think we got to be all in as well.
Or 70-30 to keep some youngins not to go all in and get a Bond dog or Clay.
And I'll say last point, what Nugget have we traded in the last 5 to 6 years that we've looking back and be like, oh my God, I can't believe we let this guy go.
Oh my God, we can't let him go. I don't think there's one.
Not been one.
But there's Jared Vanderbilt's the one I'd be like, he turned into something I didn't really expect.
We got Bruce Brown, so we had him too when Jared was gone. And we had
Bruce Brown. Yeah, and to your point, I'll come back off my point a little bit. I would trade Julian Strawther for somebody who's gonna definitely get us a championship
that
this
should be
season.
the goal. Okay, before we end this segment, we didn't say somebody that I want to talk about. Just a second.
AG.
It's AG.
Yeah.
How'd you know?
I knew you were gonna figure out a way to say
I knew you knew I was gonna figure it out. He's back. AG, you're back. Thank you. Good to see you, man. I know that heel muscle was hurting you because you had that game before they took you out and sat you with the heel. I know you were hurting. Something was wrong, and we could see it. But you played through it because that's the kind of warrior you are. But I'm glad you took some time off. You got that right, and now you're back. We welcome. Because you looked great the other night.
I think what you're seeing is just a team that played very long into the season last year.
Yes.
And then we're the first team to 25 games this year.
Yeah.
So we basically compacted a lot of games in a short period, which is going to help us on the when it's time for playoffs.
Some time.
But right now it's just knocking us out. We see KCP going down.
Yeah.
You've seen Jamal go down.
And
I think even Joker's missed like just a game or two.
Yeah, he did have a little bit. His back or something they said. Or
to that point, KCP is out tonight.
Good. I think he should let him rest.
And Maul's a game time decision.
That's okay. Let these guys rest.
And then speaking of tonight's game is against the Brooklyn Nets. The Nuggets are finally back home.
Yep.
Finally back
for
home.
A couple games. Yep.
Yeah, 10 of our next 16 are in Denver, Colorado.
And we don't have to see Houston ever again this season, right?
Yeah, we'll see them in the playoffs.
Until we see them in the playoffs.
It could be a first round matchup.
Okay.
I would love to see them in the first round, to be honest with you. We would kick their snot out of them.
So what are you looking forward to tonight's game? Maybe on the Nuggets, and who's the X factor on the Nets that we need to look out for?
Last night, did you watch that game?
They played last night?
The Nets Suns. They went into Phoenix and they beat the Suns.
They beat the Suns.
So they're coming off a back-to-back too.
Yeah, they're on the back-to-back.
On the road.
And that boy, Cam Johnson. That dude. No, I'm saying Cam Johnson.
The person that's the X factor for me is Cam Thomas.
Cam Thomas, you expect to get it. And I think Cam Johnson had a little bit of a revenge game last night.
You know he did.
But that dude was balling last night.
He's like, why you trade me?
He truly was. He was feeling it. Like he had some very clutch threes.
They traded him.
Bridges. I guess to the same point with Cam Thomas. I expect Bridges and I expect Thomas to have good games.
Yeah.
Those are their guys.
They lose if they don't.
Every NBA team except for the Pistons, has guys. You know, like where it's like this game, you look out for this. Hell, even San Antonio, they're not good, but you're like, that's Wemby.
Yeah.
Let's make sure Wemby doesn't get comfortable tonight. You know, and when you play Brooklyn, they're a winning team. They're 13-10.
Oh yeah.
500 on the road, 5-5 away from Brooklyn. They're as Phoenix learned last night. They can beat you.
We're not overlooking them at all. I think they're a hard team, and I think they'll be hard when we don't have KCP on our starting five because he can defend somebody, one of them. And so it's going to be a hard game. I'm not. Yeah.
And I think
the only thing in our favor is that they played last night, and they played hard last night. So.
We're just a better team.
Yeah, we're a better team. And hopefully we have a Nikola Jokic.
And we have a Joker.
Yeah, so hopefully we always got the big joker in our hand.
We have a Hawk.
That's what I was gonna say. We're gonna have a mad Nikola.
Yeah.
The Nuggets always have the big joker.
Yeah.
Always got that.
Yeah.
So yeah, then to your point, the Nuggets will play them 2 times in the next 6 to 8 days.
Yeah.
Because we play them again in Brooklyn. On that minor East Coast road trip they do on the 22nd.
So game before Christmas.
No, they have a back-to-back that Saturday at Charlotte.
We do or they do?
Nuggets do. So the Nuggets after they have Brooklyn tonight, Saturday they have Oklahoma City all at Ball Arena. Then they have Dallas next Monday once more at Ball Arena. Then they go on the road to Toronto. Then they go to Brooklyn. Then they go to Charlotte.
I get you saying 22nd and 23rd.
Yep, 22nd, 23rd. They have Brooklyn and then at Charlotte. And then they have the.
They come home.
Then they're home for the holidays.
And we can switch. We can use the Christmas to switch into Draymond because do you think Draymond will be there?
The Warriors because they play the Warriors.
Not Nuggets. Do you think we're playing the Warriors on Christmas? And for those that don't know, Draymond punched Yusuf
backhand slap.
Yusuf Nurkic.
Yes.
Backhand smack. Punched. I don't know how you described it.
Hit him
right in the face.
Yeah.
And now the NBA is suspending him indefinitely. So
indefinite. I
think if I had to be a betting man, he's probably out until Christmas. I think they might want to put him on for Christmas. That's just how it's branding and marketing. It's just they want to have Draymond there for Christmas. I think that's when he comes back, if I had to guess.
Maybe. I don't know. It depends on what type of
vibe they're getting.
No, not even a vibe, but how the punishment they're trying to show him. Are they trying to he peed on the carpet? Now they got to put his nose in it. The dude choked out somebody, got 5 games. Literally, maybe a couple games after he comes back, he does this. So he's on one right now. Yeah. We're not a part of the national media where they're like, he needs to get psychologically evaluated. He's always run hot. Yeah, the one thing about, and then another thing I heard the national media talking about, they're like, this is starting to affect his legacy. Before the season started, I would have said he's a great defender, an all-time champion, and sometimes he's very chippy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's an agitator.
He's an agitator, and he'll hit you, he'll kick you. Yeah. In private areas, public areas, every single place. He's just been that guy his entire career. Yeah. So I don't think this is a stain on his resume. I think it's just another notch in his belt at this point. And maybe, and I'm not trying to be an apologist by any means because he doesn't need to do it. But I grew up in the early aughts, right? But I always loved 80s basketball. That's what I learned. I love the Showtime Lakers. I love the Bad Boys. The element of physical basketball, I still think there's a place for it. Because if you don't, it's just a bunch of dudes shooting threes from half court and running up and down. You know what I mean? I think, and then when the playoffs is indicative of it, the courts get cut in half. Yeah. It's a half court game. It gets more physical. They allow them to play. And those are when the best teams thrive. Yeah. So I think the Pat Bevs and the Dylan Brookses of the world and the Draymond Greens have a place in my NBA.
Okay. And that's fine.
But there's a line.
There is a line.
And
he crossed
when
it.
he to quote Dave Chappelle, he's a habitual line crosser. This dude.
He crossed it.
And in this one, above all, the Rudy Gobert one, I'll give him even a little bit more deference. He shouldn't have probably choked him, but it's Rudy Gobert, so it's all good for me. But this one,
Why?
Why'd you? It was like, bruh. It was like, I was saying this to you. It was on an inbounds play. It was on an inbounds play, and your dude hasn't even thrown the ball in yet.
Just
like if it's like
come back to the NBA.
Yeah, I'm not even saying that. I'm talking about the actual play when he does it. When you decided to do this, it should have been like on a rebound at least. Let the play be in action. Don't do it on. It's technically a dead ball at that point.
My thing is, if Draymond does it on that play, he could get mad on any play because the guy just has all he has is the guy's arm on it. He only has his arm on his.
And
inside.
that's been the case lately.
I always back Draymond. So even for me to say it's crazy. I backed Draymond with the LeBron thing. I thought that was BS that they kicked him out for Game 5. Anyways, I do think at the end of the day that he went way too far on that one. Now most of the Draymond, even when he stepped on Sabonis, it went far, but Sabonis was doing cheap stuff too. It was kind of back and forth. It didn't look like Nurkic was doing much of anything on that play.
Let me interject some Nuggets venom into this. Would you trade for Draymond?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Explain your reasoning. I already know yours. Explain your reasoning, Dot.
Well, I think Draymond is a vet that we need. As far as like when I say the Nuggets, when we're talking about the whole conversation we're talking about is we need a vet to come in and be on that bench that's actually going to hold it down. He still plays good defense, and he has a level of floor general that works for that team. I'm not saying it's the best move, but if the Nuggets, if it's February 12th and I look on the screen and says the Nuggets acquired Draymond for blank,
yeah, we'd be okay with it because we'd be like, oh,
I'm not saying that's the number one person on the board, but I do think Draymond can help us push us over the edge. And you much rather have an enforcer on your team than against you.
I think all of that, it's called chemistry for me. I do not want him coming in.
I think him and Joker would have a great chemistry.
I think when it comes up, I'll let you finish your point because you're going somewhere. I'll interject this really fast. I think he could play the Jeff Green role on the court.
Yeah.
On the court. Not necessarily the leadership and all that stuff. Two different people, two different humans. But Draymond's a great leader. He really is.
But we don't need a leader. We got leaders. We got plenty of them.
I'm not saying, but you can never have too many great leaders because you had Jeff Green last year.
Who's a leader?
He was a leader.
So
you had Ish Smith, who was a leader.
I don't want this to be convince me because I'm not going to get I'm there.
It's all hyperbole.
All I'm saying is I think he would disrupt our chemistry. I said it. That's what I meant. So.
You think he's like a cancer?
No, I didn't say that word at all. No, I just think that we don't need to. Why mess up a good thing that doesn't have that issue and to put that as a possibility of an issue? Why?
But
there's other people, especially because he's not gonna be the only one out there for a trade. So
every single time we've talked about making a trade, this Clyde Drexler year as we've dubbed it, he's the only one that you said will mess up the chemistry. So I'm just trying to figure out.
Dylan Brooks would too. So I mean, all the ones you named.
I think it's different.
Dylan Brooks won it because Jamal and him are good friends.
And that's what I think. This is the difference between the Nuggets and a lot of cultures. You understand who the leader is, and you know who the coach is. Draymond's personality, even as crazy as Draymond is, I think Michael Malone would be able to handle and cultivate that personality, much like Steve Kerr has for a long time. Hasn't he dealt with them? But hasn't Mike Malone been with the Warriors when Draymond was on that team? Yeah, he knows these guys. So that's what I said. I think, and then everybody knows, hey, we got the best player in the world with Jokic. If this how the locker room runs with him, I'm not coming in and bringing in my own. And
one thing you could say about Draymond, he knows how to play his role.
He does.
Like, it's not the ego, because if he's like, I'm the guy, I need to be he would have never won 4 championships with Steph Curry. Yeah. He knows who's the alpha dog on this team. If he was to come to the Nuggets, he would know that this is Jokic's team, and I just played my role. Okay. And my role on this team would be defense and rebounding.
Can you imagine in practice Draymond and AG going at it every day? You know how much better those
iron
guys
sharpens iron.
That'd be great to see.
And who would he punch in the face on this team? I don't know.
Yeah, it's not. Nuggets are really chill. We're a chill basketball team.
They are.
Let's go to the Lakers in the in-season tournament. Should they hang on? I don't even know why you put this in here. I don't even ask the question.
Ask it.
Lakers win the tournment.
They did.
You guys like it? Are you happy? What do you think?
Whatever. The question you don't want to ask is, should they hang a banner?
No.
And to the point, I was making jokes. I was making jokes. For 29 other teams, I would say, yeah, sure, go for it.
No,
but for the Lakers, Lakers,
hung that, I'd be trying to throw water at the top of that.
But for the Lakers, they don't even hang conference championships. They don't hang division championships.
Let me just
as Kobe said, We only hang championship banners. So the Lakers, I say yes. Anybody else, I say go for it. Go for it. If Indiana wanted, I've been like, sure, have it up there. What does it matter? I don't get the matter.
It's Detroit
because they've lost 20 straight.
But Detroit's got 2 championships. They got 2 banners up there.
Now I'm just saying.
No, psych. They got 3 banners up there.
I'm just saying the Detroit Pistons has lost so much that the in-season tournament started today. They won 6 straight. And they can hang that up. They can always say we went from 20 losses to 6 straight and won it in the
But the Los Angeles Lakers in the pink, purple, and gold with all that history and all that tradition and all that, they're going to hang a banner for an end. Now, the only reason they could hang it somewhere in a building, I mean, some kind of trophy.
The trophy. They could keep the trophy and the thing. And they have the medal.
Documented on the in-season tournament.
Yeah.
It's below
I think.
I definitely wouldn't want to hang those.
I think LeBron winning. Excuse me. I think LeBron winning the first one.
Very staged.
Gives it. It was in the script, but it gives deference to it. You know. Yeah. Now it's something.
Yes.
Last night once more I was trolling through League Pass. I was listening to the whiny Pacers, Indiana Pacers announcers, and they were talking about how they had so much festivity going on last week and going to Las Vegas and the hype of the in-season tournament, and they're having a little lull coming out of it. Sidebar, that's a mark of a losing mentality. Yeah. B, we kind of already knew teams like that they would exhaust their energy trying to win the in-season tournament, right? And then lose sight of what the actual goal is. Correct. I don't think the Lakers are that they're not cut from that cloth, and that's why I think them winning it is better. I thought them Milwaukee or Celtics winning it because those. Well, they weren't in it. They weren't in the. I'm saying of those teams. Those teams, other teams, I feel like they would have lost their way because they would have been like, okay, we did something in this league. Those 3 teams, Milwaukee, Boston, and of course the champions Lakers or the in-season tournament champion Lakers, they know that there's something bigger out there to play for. And they know that this is good, but this is a step in the right direction for the overall goal of the season.
Here's how you know you shouldn't hang a banner back. I know they were shaking pumpkin. Yeah, but here's how you know they shouldn't.
I'm a baseball guy. You know, I have no issue with that.
Okay, right. Okay, here's how you know they shouldn't hang a banner. To answer your question, will we be talking about the in-season tournament in the middle of January? I say no. No. And that's why you can.
And people like Kyle and Michael Wilbon will be happy because they'll be back to playing meaningful games that no one cares about. What it does, you cannot say it didn't add substance to the first month of the season. That. It was a market, so for that, I think it was a good addition to the NBA season.
Sure, all that. We'll take it.
It added money to people's pockets.
Yeah, it did. All that.
Let's go to the last thing. Giannis scores 64 points. And gets in a fight for the game ball.
Giannis got in a fight?
Yeah, back to those weak Indiana Pacers. One game made me really dislike that organization, their announcers.
Even though Bruce Brown is there.
Oh, yeah, I like Brucey B.
Oh, yeah, but of course.
And I kind of like Halliburton. I respect Halliburton's game.
Yeah.
I like Benedict Mathurin. And if I probably started going through it a little bit, I like Rick Carlisle.
Is Buddy on their team?
Buddy Hield. He's below my line. But like... I guess the more I think about it, I do like the Pacers, but I just don't like the franchise. Yeah. I don't like how whiny they sounded. And then what they did, they took the game ball for their rookie who scored his first NBA point.
They have a picture
on the road. The road.
They have new information.
Oh, okay.
So all that. Go ahead. You can bring.
No, I was gonna say on X or wherever we saw it. Somebody had a photo of at the end of the game, the ball was given to a Milwaukee Bucks assistant coach.
Ooh.
So Giannis did a lot of that fighting for
nothing.
Reason. Oh yeah, for those that
so
don't
then
know.
Why the coach not give it to Giannis?
No, we'll know.
Before
all right, that's just a misunderstanding.
Giannis he got irate and started running into the tunnel because
he wanted to get the ball when
he scored 64 points, a career high, and he thought Indiana
and a franchise record too.
So I guess there's 2 different basketballs you can have, and one of them went to the Indiana kid who scored his first ever career basketball. Right. But Giannis's guy secured a basketball for him.
But I think if you look at it in a prism, which a lot of us did, and I didn't know that new information, so thank you for clearing that up for me. They don't like each other. They're in the division.
Oh, they're
in the same division. They're 1-2 in that division. I believe the Pacers are a game or a game and a half now back. The Pacers have this was their third time playing this season. Pacers beat them.
Yeah, the last time they played.
Every single time. That was their first win. They play again early January. So there's more that meets the eye than just Giannis gets 64, doesn't get the game ball, gets irate. This is them not liking each other.
Okay.
That was the first time it came to surface, and then also within that game, the whiny announcers, the Pacers coaches were getting upset with the Bucks because they didn't call off the dogs when they called off the dogs. And I think that's some of the sportsmanship stuff that I was getting kind of upset, like hearing how blue ribbon a lot of the sports media has become with, with even in, I don't want to go into that because that'll spark something. But here, they gotten so whiny that like, oh, I call off my dogs. That means you have to call off your dogs. No, it does not.
They didn't have to call them off in the in-tournament championship game that we just went through. That was part of the whole deal.
That's what I was going to say, but you said it. But people got upset about that. But I'm like, that's 4 games out of the 82-game season. No, get over yourself on that one.
You could get upset about it, but it happened.
Yeah, okay. But I'm saying this one, they were up by I think 12. With 5 minutes to go. They were up 12 with 5 minutes to go. And they're saying, oh, why have they not? The Indiana Pacers clearly call off the dogs. It's 5 minutes to go and you're down by 12. Have you never watched the Golden State Warriors? They make that vanish in a second.
Welcome to the world of championship basketball.
Exactly.
Malone don't call
nobody called.
That's what I'm saying, but that's my issue. Is like, why were you guys taking so upset by that? Exactly.
You know what it is? This is the reason I don't like the in-season tournament. Indiana thinks they won something.
Yeah, right.
They didn't win nothing.
But they truly won nothing.
I know, but
You would say the Lakers won nothing.
They finally got on TNT.
Yeah.
They finally got some recognition. The people saying Halliburton's an all-star.
Interviewing his dad.
They got their 15 minutes of fame, and now they think they won something.
Yeah. But Kyle,
they didn't win no playoff game, no nothing.
Maybe you should go back and listen to some of our first episodes, especially the Summer League one. No, not that. I was calling that the in-season tournament benefits teams that get hot early and young and have like that, like, energy. Oh, we had a good summer, we have a good start, and they'll be the teams in the Final Four. In this case, Indiana got to the championship. And then what happens, it distorts the reality. To your point, is that they distort the reality and they think that they've arrived when all you did was have a good November. That's all you did. At the end of the day, you had a good November. Teams that win, like the Lakers, like all the other teams we've mentioned already, they know that was just a check mark. That was checkpoint number one. The next one is what the next one is for their organization. Don't get in the weeds on this one, Indiana fans. I hope you guys understand that was good for the moment. You didn't win, and keep going.
I'm glad small market team gets a lot of credit. I don't want to hate on that.
Right.
It's just more of this, and I think they actually have a good team.
They do,
but their flaws are very much apparent.
Yeah.
You can see that they don't play any defense.
No defense because all their scores are high.
So yes, you're gonna score points, but you guys aren't gonna play defense. So if you do make the playoffs, you're gonna get ran.
Yeah. Before we move on to the 2-minute warning, I just want to say Embiid had 41 last night against the Pistons.
Embiid.
Yeah. And then, but did you hear who I said that he had it against? The Pistons, who have lost.
Yeah.
Let me double check this to make sure it's correctly. 21 straight games. So they are moving up quickly. The most losers board. It's not punching down. This is not Nuggets. Not Nuggets. I just look at the league. And I see that they've lost, like I said, 21 straight. In the West, San Antonio's lost 18 straight. So, I'll bring it back to a solid point.
Because if you don't say Pop's not a good coach, something's wrong with you. And Monte has proven he has.
We told you this issue with Pop.
Talent applies. You gotta have talent.
Put him at center. I think the Pistons is a talent issue.
Yeah,
I just don't think they're that talented.
Cade's good. That's my
boy. Cade.
Yeah.
But that's how they have Cade because they were bad. They got the number 1 pick, and
Jordan Ivey hasn't really panned out the way they thought he was. But
I just don't think that Bagley's on their team. Bogdan Donvanovic, he's one of those ones. He's 34. He makes a lot of money. He makes $20 million. But like, hey, Joe Harris, they have, I'm looking at it right now. They just have bad contracts.
Yeah.
Not only are they not that talented, they have bad contracts. When you have, what is that? $50 million between Bogdan Bogdanovic, Alec Burks, and Joe Harris. $50 million between those three. That's tough. Such as the NBA, such as life. But like that's what back to what I was gonna say. And stop me when you heard this one before. I feel like this has been all my cognitive basketball watching life. The East sucks. Like you have top heavy teams that just beat up on the worst teams in the NBA. Detroit, Washington, Charlotte, Chicago, Atlanta. Yeah. Toronto's not that great. Cleveland is frisky, but like, come on. We'll see Brooklyn tonight.
Should be a little better.
We'll see Brooklyn tonight.
Should be moving up.
And Atlanta should be.
Knicks should be moving up.
But you're looking at the Heat are the 6th seed. So yeah,
and Magic should be falling down when
was chill the Magic slander. But as long as they get to beat up on Washington, who's in their division, and Charlotte, who's in their division, the East, that's why they always have like these really top-loaded teams because they just beat up on the garbage.
And the Raptors are going to be big sellers.
Whereas Memphis is 6-17 in the West. However, they get Ja back in the next couple days, around Christmas. He'll have to work his way back in, but I could see them. They're going to be below 500. This is not their year. That was a death blow getting that 25. Mm-hmm. And then Portland, I love them. Chauncey, this is probably his last season as head coach. Utah sucks straight up. So they
traded away all their people.
The West, they nuked their team for sure. Did. I just think the West has their bad teams are a little bit better than the East bad teams.
Always are, except for the Spurs. Somehow they're pretty bad. But let's go to the 2 minutes remaining.
2 minutes remaining.
2 minutes remaining.
2 minutes remaining.
Well, this might be our final episode before Christmas. Who knows? We might have one more in us, but we never know. And the question of the day has to be, what's on your Christmas list this year for the Nuggets?
Ooh, I'm going to be like kids in elementary school. Can I go first, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Veteran player for our bench.
So that's funny. When we started Draymond, you didn't want to talk.
No, well, a certain a paid veteran leadership.
Preferably not.
Yeah.
Well, veteran player for our bench is my Christmas wish.
Do you have anybody in mind? And is there one person you're looking at?
No, I need somebody who's going to be able to shoot, offensive skills, can defend as well, and play team ball. That's where the Draymond thing goes to the other side for me. And just play team ball. I just want just a regular old, good old-fashioned veteran who is good. That's it. They found Reggie. They found Uncle Jeff. They found Bruce Brown. Find me someone just like those three. There's your examples. Get me them.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I want.
Christoph, what you got?
My list, I think I have a couple, but my top one that I'd ask Santa for is health.
Yes.
I think the biggest issue with the Nuggets, because they've been this year,
they played a lot
when they're healthy, they're the best team in the NBA.
Yes.
When they're not healthy, they're one of the best teams in the NBA.
So two of us we got health and we got veteran player.
Yeah. No, but I was going to say another thing is I want them
you want
to
two
yours.
things from Santa?
Yeah, it's a list.
Okay.
To yours, I would love for them to make a trade. And my third one, the grandest of them all, I would love for them to be playing for NBA championship again at the end of the year.
All right.
That's good.
That's good.
Mine, obviously world peace. No,
I'm just yeah, right. Exactly.
Mine is Jamal Murray making the All-Star game.
Oh, I'll take that too.
Because I do want him to be a
part
of
the All-Star.
I'll take
Not
it.
happening.
Oh,
this is why I said that.
Don't
Nuggets
get me started on
have
this.
not only won a championship,
of course he's an All-Star.
but the Nuggets are probably going to be a top 3 team in the West again. Can we get a second All-Star to play with
He'll be an All-Star in our hearts.
Well,
the coaches can vote.
We literally, fans, go listen to the last episode. We had a whole segment on this.
No, I get it. If we forget the starting 5, I'm not saying he has to be in the starting 5. I'm just saying he has to be on the
coaches to get him in.
The coaches can get him in.
Mom, Jace, he is not going to make the All-Star game if he doesn't play. Doesn't matter if it's coaches or otherwise. He's got to. If he puts together a great January, let's talk then. But right now, he had 29 against Atlanta. Great. Didn't play the next game. He might play today. Then he maybe not.
But explain this to me. Is the All-Star pick from the coaches only for the games they have witnessed in this season? Or is it because...
he's an All-Star.
Huh?
Or is it just because...
Are you saying it's a Lifetime Achievement Award?
I'm not saying it. I'm just saying that the Nuggets played past the regular season last time and the man showed up big time in the playoffs. Do you not act like you didn't even see that, and you start from October to now, and then he doesn't get enough play time.
Not to mention,
I mean, come on.
One of those spots was John Morant's every year. He's not on this year. Who else was the other guys? So you got De'Aaron Fox,
Devontae Murray, right? Didn't he get in on the down low last
time? Who are those guards that got in last year?
He got in at the end, I thought. Remember that when you couldn't play, they added some people. I know Ant got in regular way.
Here, let me throw this at you really fast.
Okay.
Coach Malone can't be the coach of the All-Star game because he did last year.
Yeah.
So that means Minnesota, Oklahoma City, Dallas, maybe the Lakers, right? Maybe the Kings too. There's a couple options, but let's just stick to Minnesota and Oklahoma City. If those two teams have the best record in the West going into they're the coaching staffs going into the All-Star game, both of those are in our division. Technically our rivals.
Is LeBron a forward or a guard in the pick?
Do you think Chris Finch, the coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, is going to pick that guy?
All the coaches, not
Naz
just
Reid?
No, it's all the coaches.
I see there's some people
all the coaches.
Well, Naz Reid, if you're going to put him in, I don't think he should be in, but that's just me.
But that's what I'm saying. But if it's his coach picking, he might pick his guy.
Larry Marketing was in last year. So Marketing's not going to be on this year.
Worthless.
Ja's not going to be on this year. And let's see who else may not be in on the West this year. Well, Kyrie's going to now join the West. I think there's a shot. I honestly just think there's a shot. You're going to put
Kyrie in and not Jamal Murray.
Kyrie's
and he's out as much as Jamal.
Kyrie's hooping.
Huh?
Kyrie's hooping this year.
No. Has he had as many games?
All I'm saying is, this is my Christmas list, and that's what I hope he makes.
You brought it up.
You guys got it. You guys going into the depths of it. I just think that's who we should bring in. That's who I think he should be on.
I mean, I want him to be. I just don't see the logical pathway of him becoming an all-star other than, writing it down on a sheet of paper, giving it to the stork, and the stork carrying it somewhere to drop it to mystical land and
Rudolph
fairies.
Is coming by his house soon. We'll give it to him. Let him take it. So we'll see.
From the Just Nuggets podcast. All we wish is for Jamal to make it.
That's exactly. Well, let's go with that one because the other ones might happen. You might get veteran play. You might get lucky and have some help. But that one is a toughie.
You missed my second one. Them winning a championship.
Oh, they won the championship.
We won the championship. This is K. Colley checking in from the Just Nuggets podcast.
Just Janet saying happy holidays to you, everyone.
Happy holidays to you, Christoph Colley.
Go Nuggies.